Welcome back, crew. Today we're going to be talking about the much anticipated Crocodile strategy guide with Doflamingo. This is a very tricky matchup, so let's get stuck into everything we need to know to increase our chances of winning this match. Alright, so before we talk about anything else, let's talk about the data. Now, this data is a little bit old, and I guess for Crocodile here, we only have 2 matches to base this on. This data had 50% win rate with Doffy into Crocodile. The winning match, it was going second. Now, we just need to take this with a grain of salt. Some of the more recent data coming from the sim, we have actually a 30% win rate into Crocodile. So that's not too great. And I think it is quite reflective of how hard the match is. I think we can bump that up. And I do want to say, in the current sim data, Doffy has risen up the charts to the number 4 spot. It's got like a 52% win rate overall. It's ahead of Boa. It is just below, what is it? There's Ace, Emu, and can't remember the third one. Must be Mihawk. And Doffy is in the number 4 spot. So perhaps it's all you guys using these guides that I've been making. So if you do like these guides, make sure you sub for the next one. And, that lets me know that this stuff is going well for you guys. So yeah, as I said, 30% win rate. I think this guide should be able to bump it up a little bit, but I think it is still overall a losing matchup. Whether we go first or second, we'll get to that in our curves later on. Let's just jump into our general strategy first. Okay, so as I said, this is an incredibly difficult matchup. Now, here's some general tips, I guess, along the way. In terms of taking this on, it's important not to attack the board before that 7 to 8 Don turn. Now, this isn't always necessarily true, and in one of the videos, I do attack the board before then. But the reason for this is they have access to this Bond Clay here, the Mr. 2, and also Miss All Sunday, and what both of those do is they just bring back stuff from the trash. So attacking the board basically is ineffective because they're just gonna bring it straight back. You've just basically made no effect that turn. If you are trying to avoid getting attacked, possibly this could be good. As a whole, it's not a great idea to attack the board before those turns, right? This makes it incredibly difficult because if we're trying to control the Crocodile, we can't control that board at the start, and later on, when they have the Crocodiles, we're not going to be able to control the board later. So anyway, general strategy, don't attack the board early. Number 2 here, establish turn value generators. So things that are going to generate us extra every turn. Things like the 8 cost Doflamingo are great. Things like the Rosinante are great. Even the 1 cost Sugar, this is another thing that's really good. Able to get that, card draw every turn. It's something that they need to purposely shut down rather than attacking at you. Next one here, establish at least 3 beaters. And the reason for this is later down the track, they're going to be dropping down Crocodile after Crocodile. From 1 Crocodile on the drop, they get to freeze something big, and then they get to KO that Crocodile with their leader effect, bring it back, and freeze down another thing on play. Now, they can never establish more than 2 of those freezes per turn. Doesn't matter how many Crocodiles are on the board, it's only ever going to be 2 freezes per turn. They have to play out a Crocodile, and they have to use the KO effect. That's it. So, if you have 3 beaters, at least one of them's able to attack. If you've only got 2 beaters, not going to work. And ideally, you want more than 3. So, establish at least 3 beaters here. Last one here is you're going to need a more aggressive game plan. And as I just sort of suggested, at the start, you're not able to control the board. Later, we can't deal with these Crocodiles. This is one of our biggest problems in this matchup, is we cannot deal with the Crocodiles. I've tried a lot of control options. I've even tried milling them out. And, you know, at best, you're sort of getting to that. They've got 10 cards left. Even if you're attacking the crocodiles, you're not going to get through in time. That's not going to work. Control is not going to work into this deck. Maybe a little bit of control at particular times, but overall, trying to control, starve them out, and win, it's going to need a lot more work than control and starve out. You're gonna need to be aggressive to starve them out. So it's also important, yeah, they can't establish a double freeze and a blocker in the same turn. So they need to play out a crocodile. So they need to play out a crocodile, costs 8. They've only got 2 left. They don't have a blocker that costs 2. You are going to be able to then apply pressure to life if they are trying to double freeze you. And if they're not double freezing you, you have an extra attacker to get past a blocker anyway. So that is their weakness there, is they are limited when they're locking you down, they're limited in their defense. Even though that lockdown does create defense, it is a weak point for them. So we need to take advantage of that when it does present. Now, although that wasn't really a general strategy, those points are going to make a lot more sense later on, okay? But do keep these in mind. We'll come back to these. Let's talk about our deck. So I do talk about the deck in every video, but since the last guide that I've done, and the reason why this guide has taken so long, is I've come to a lot of realizations with the deck as a whole and with our curves and how we can play. And I guess the Crocodile matchup, it called for me to really criticize the deck I had been using and see if we can play this in a different way. Because as I was suggesting, controlling the opponent, controlling a crocodile does not work. What else can we do here? And, you know, Doffy is too good to stop playing because of a crocodile deck, which is fairly underrepresented in the general meta anyway. So let's have a look at the deck as a whole. Now, I have added an additional card here. It is one that a lot of you will be familiar with. It is the event. The event here is a searcher event. 1-cost searcher event, counter or main. You get to search top 3 for a Doflamingo pirate card. Now, I break these down into components so we can really talk about what each of these tools bring to the deck. And maybe I should have added another one, is the searcher component. So we could put this 1-cost event in here, the sugar in here, and the Dellinger in here. But never mind that. I'm going to break this down into components. I do want you to be aware I have started a new deck. So if you do want to check out that deck, it will be in the deck list description of the video here. I'll do another video more in depth about what this deck entails, but you'll get a bit of a feel for it in this video here. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it, but not too much. We'll talk about the components of the deck now. All right, the first one to talk about is Ramp on Play. Ramp on Play, we have 3 cards here. We've got the Monet, we've got the Sugar, and we have the Baby 5. All 3 of these ramp Active Don. Really important. Active Don are ramped. These are the ones that are going to get us to our 8-cost, 10-cost a lot quicker. Very useful cards in this matchup. I think as a whole, and I'm going to talk about it later, but be aware right now, I think as a whole, we want to go first, and this means we only need to ramp 1. So these cards are important, but having 2 aren't as important. So we do want to see 1 of them in our opening hand would be great. Having 2, not necessary. So keep that one in mind. Next, we're going to be talking about ramping on our opponent's turn. So a couple of ways to do this. Dellinger is, I think, one of the best blockers in the game. He doesn't block. Doffy redirects, costs 1 to redirect. Dellinger then will ramp 1 back. So it's basically using your leader effect, a free block. Really handy when you want to maintain that Don curve and deflect an attack. So super useful card in the matchup because of that. The other ones that we can get ramp from, you know, the Monet, she is great. She gets 2 back. So if you neg 1 from your leader, get 2 back from Monet. Really, really handy. Treble we don't tend to play as a card. It's more a 2k, but when it is on the field, every time you're negging a Don, you will get that Don straight back from this triple effect. And if you're using a redirect into, say, a Dellinger, you're also getting the Don back from this one as well. So then you're net forward, like net positive here. Really, really strong card. But, you know, we can do this similarly in a with a Doffy here. If you've got an active Don, Doffy when an opponent attacks, which is really good as well, then you don't need a neg. When an opponent attacks, you get to rest a Don and gain 1 active, effectively netting a rested Don. Really good card. And in this particular matchup, this is the one I'd be going for because you need the extra beaters on board, which we'll talk about beaters in a sec. Doffy is also a beater and he will get you Don. So, you know, this is a no-brainer. He's a 2k in this matchup. This one here is the one you want on field, and you might be utilizing these effects as well. Now, Sugar is not actually a ramper, but what she does do is on KO, she allows you to play out a 5 cost or less character. And because of this, because you're playing out a 5 cost or less, we can play out, you know, one of these 3 here and get an active Don. And there's no other card. I mean, there is one other card. There's no other card that can get you an active Don on your opponent's turn. And the reason this is important is if you, say, play a Sugar at the end of your main phase, right? You play the Sugar, you ramp 1 active. You've got 1 active Don and you've got nothing to use it on. Opponent's turn comes around, you redirect into Sugar. Sugar dies, brings back, let's say, another Sugar. Because she can do that. Now, Sugar comes down, you ramp 1 active, now you've got 2 active Don. Now you can unleash these 2 Don events. Really, really good when it happens. Not necessarily important for this matchup though, because the defensive element from board isn't going to be as important in this matchup as it is in other matchups. Let's move on. All right, so this is the crux of the deck here. Our on KO effects, our -1 Don effects. This is what Doffy is centralized around. Let's talk about some of the effects that we got here. So first up, Gladius. Now Gladius has since left my deck. I haven't completely forgotten about him. I think he is still a value card. If the meta goes really wide, this is going to be a very useful card. It could be useful into this matchup. I don't think it's going to be as important as establishing these bigger beaters is strong. The problem is he can't deal with the 8 cost Croc. He could deal with the early game, but I think as a whole, it's not going to be as strong into this matchup as other ways that we could go around. Anyway, his on KO effect is you get to rest or KO a 6,000 power body. Very, very strong. So the downside to him is you need to neg a Don, and to attack into him, you're probably going to need to neg a Don. So that's 2 Don down. Using him early, it feels rough. I mean, if they attack into it, yeah, sure, it might be worth it, but otherwise, it's going to feel rough. So not going to be the best into the Crocodile match unless they weren't seeing their 8 costs. So yeah, let's not talk about him anymore. Dellinger, I said, he's amazing. You do get the ramp, but you also get a search. So he is a searcher as well. 5 cards from the top, looking for a Doffy pirate, Don Coyote pirate, and the majority of our cards here are Don Coyote pirates. Viola is one of my all-time favorite cards in the deck. On KO, neg 1, look in your trash, take an event, put it in your hand. Super, super amazing when you're picking out an Aurora Beam. Man, this card goes hard. And you're blocking, so you don't need to use your leader effect to get this one. And I mean, that leaves it free for another effect from your leader. So 2 blocks in the turn, Viola's down. Monet, let's talk about Monet. Monet is really strong. As I said, she's got the ramp. You're ramping 2 when she's KO'd. She also has card draw, so you draw 2, trash 1. the draw and the cycle in the same hit. Really, really strong. And her on KO effect, I particularly like it when you're trying to chain 10 costs, because you drop a 10, you neg 3, you get 2 back for a turn, you wouldn't be up to 10 again. The best way to get that Don back, I think the only way you can really guarantee it coming back, is when you redirect into Monet, negs 1, brings you down to 6, plus 2, you back up to 8, on turn, 2 more Don, brings you back to 10, bam, second one comes down, and so much pressure when you're dropping 2 10-cost Doffies. Sugar, talked about Sugar, you KO her and you get 1 back. Doesn't cost Don to do that, only from the leader for redirect, so it doesn't cost Don, really good. Baby 5 does cost Don, is neg 1 Don for her effect, but her effect you gain a life, so really, really strong card. Probably, I don't think I've ever used more than 2 in a single game of Baby 5, but often run more Baby 5s just for the ramp ability and ensuring that I see it. Other neg Don cards here are the event here, the Nora Nora Beam. You neg 1 here, you neg 1 here, and you get to rest one of their cards. No cost limit associated with this, just rest a card. So strong. And this one here, you neg a card, bullet string here, you neg a card. Sorry, you don't neg a card, you neg a Don. And when you neg the Don, you get plus 2,000 power for turn and plus 2,000 power for battle. So really, really strong card. The reason why I'm talking about the negging Don is important, because if you're negging Don off, the ones that neg Don, Gladius here, Baby 5, Viola, Nora Nora Beam, and Bullet String, if you neg a Don here and a Don here, and sorry, our leader here, negging Don here, we can easily neg 3 Don in a turn, and we're not getting that back the next turn. We need to utilize those cards that generate Don on our opponent's turn, like the beta Doflamingo here. Let's have a look at some beaters. So these are going to be the most important for this matchup. As I suggested, you need 3 beaters on the field in order to attack into their board or at face. So they are going to lock down 2 of these. They can neg 10 cost off anything, then they can freeze anything. So nothing is safe here. If you got the 10 cost on board, they're going to rest it. You got the 8 cost on board, they're going to rest it. You got the 5 cost on board, they're going to rest it. They're going to rest any combination of 2 of these. Now, I think this is where the value of your card starts to come into play. Our line of going for a 10 cost, as strong as a 10 cost is, we can take down a Miss All Sunday on curve. And I think that's going to be our strongest play if we're playing a 10 cost. We can't deal with the Croc, even though he's an 8 cost. We KO it, it comes straight back. They lose a card from the KO, they gain a card from the play. They are net positive. There's no point trying to take out their Croc. The thing is, if we play this card here, it costs 10. We get 10,000 power. If we play this card here, it costs 8. We get 9,000 power. If you can utilize the extra 2 Don elsewhere, this is a better card, because this card here, it's not going to be, one of these is going to get rested. They're going to rest the highest power character. If they rest this, it's rested. We got 2 Don free. They rest this, we got no Don free. We're better off playing this. Now, this one has an added effect of being able to play out a 5 cost or lower character on top. This is super important because we want to go wide with these strong characters that can just attack into our leader here, that can attack into their leader here. So this, I think, is going to be the most important card in this particular matchup. You play this one into the Virgo. Virgo is not, his protection isn't really needed in this. His neg 2000 is going to be strong. So using that neg 2000 effect to lower your opponents can be useful if you're trying to take down a Miss All Sunday, or maybe the Gala Miss Double Finger. That can be useful because she often will add the extra power to herself. So Virgo can be useful, but he's mostly just there to hit face. Usually what you're going to find is Virgo is one of the first to get hit by Croc, and this one here, so you need to establish something else on the next turn. Monet is I put her in the beta category as well. She's 6,000 power. I think this is strong enough to be called a beta. What I like about Monet is generally they don't want to attack into her because you're getting such strong effects, and not negging Don to get the strong effects is not going to feel good for your opponent. So I do like that. Gladius I do consider a beta, even though he is only 4,000. He is similar to Monet. Opponent doesn't want to attack into it because he's going to do damage to them. So if you are playing him, really nice to be on board and just attack. Now, I haven't put Rosie in here. Rosie is 6,000 power, but you know, he's got that strong defensive capability that he's just an easy target for them. He's, you know, turn after turn generating value for us. So he is probably the first one that they're going to attack into. You know, they're going to freeze the big guys, attack into Rosie here, just to clear the board a little bit. Our board, that is. Now, there is one other card that I've been toying with that, and that is the Rosinante Law SR from OP14, or is it, that might be EBO4. Not sure, but from that set, I think it's EBO4. That card is an okay card. I have got it in my current deck list. I probably should have put it in here. He can be considered a beta as well. He's a 6 cost, 8,000 power. I'm going to pop him on the screen here. He's, 6 cost, 8,000 power. Very strong attack. So he does work well into this matchup where we're trying to put pressure on. He does have blocker, but in this match, I would be primarily using him as an attacker. Attack with him. Okay, so if you get him down, attack with him, and we will see him actually in some gameplay. So I did think it was important to mention it. All right, next we've got some resters. Gladius can rest, as I mentioned before. We also have Nora Beam. Mentioned this one also. This one can rest any card. Super useful in this matchup. Resters as a whole are not going to be super useful. Resters, you know, we can use this so we can attack into board, but as I said, controlling this game isn't the way we go around winning it. So the resters are really control cards. They're not going to be that useful in this. We are running a few of these Usohachis. Usohachi doubles as a 2k. Just use him as a 2k. He's going to be stronger for your game if you're just using him as a 2k. Sanji I've since dropped from the deck, but also has Rush. He can rest down 6 cost or less. Do feel like I'd kind of want him back. I'm not sure. I've got sort of a flex spot at the moment with that Rosinante and Law card. May bring back Sanji in that spot. Not completely sure. Whatever the case, these ones are not going to be that useful for this match. All right, events, and I should have put the new one in here. We do also have the event searcher. The event searcher is so good because there's often that extra one Don you've got left that you can use that Don. Also, if you're playing the Rosinante, if the Rosinante is down, feel free just to smash that event into your trash, gain 2 cards. It's the #1 candidate for it. But, you know, if you don't, you can play that event on your opponent's turn. So if they attack in, you end up not needing to Noro. Just use the event as, you know, during your counter phase and have a search and find a card you need for your next turn. Kind of cool. Other events we've got here, Bullet String. I've since cut from the deck, so you're not going to find it in this current list. Is a very strong card, but it's mostly there for the go wide games. Not really useful for this matchup. Once they establish those Crocs, the Bullet String is not enough. They're attacking you for 10,000 power. Bullet String can bring your leader to 9. Yes, you've got the extra 2, but you're basically going to need to play 2 of these. And even then, if they're attacking you with 3 Crocs, you're going to need to commit 2Ks on, you know, the latter Croc swings anyway. This one is useful. I still do use if you're going to use a rester, it's going to be this one here. And it's not to control the opponent. The reason why you're going to use this is just so you don't take so many intensive swings. They attack with one croc, you rest the other, and you've just, saved yourself another turn. Good to delay the game. Delaying the game isn't always the best. You can use this once or twice in the game. I don't think you're going to be using it more than once or twice. Usually once per game is all you're going to use this card. Divine Departure, it runs as a main and counter. The counter adds 3000 power. You need to discard a card and it gets 3000 power. The main is a strong main. It negs 8000 from any character. Only target we have here is the Missile Sunday. I don't think it's worth wasting your Don on that Missile Sunday for this effect. I think you're better off just saving 2 Don, resting it down later. Maybe when you drop the 10 cost, just taking out the Missile Sunday. Eventually what they're going to do with their board is they're going to be dropping Croc after Croc. And eventually they're going to have 4 Crocs on board. If they have 4 Crocs on board, it means that they need to play that over characters, and if you're not attacking into their board, they have to wipe out their own characters. So no point you spending all your Don. It's going to be a 6 Don commitment for this. No point wasting 6 Don when they're just going to take them out themselves. So this one, just use it as the 3k defense. All right, let's get into the serious stuff here. Let's talk about their key cards. This deck is a menace. I've tried to clump them together here. So what we have is, first of all, we've got the Missile Sunday and the Mr. 2. Both of these cards, they're in here. They bring their recursion cards. Bond Clay, you KO him and you bring I think it's just 5 cost or lower back from the trash. And it's a 4 cost. Really, really strong. Missile Sunday on play, you bring a 4 cost back from the trash, or it might be trash or hand, and I think it's a 1 or 2 cost. Can't remember if it's 1 or 2 cost. They don't really play many 2 costs, so it might be 2 costs as well. But essentially, they're bringing back a 1 cost that we have on the screen here, and the Mr. 4. And then the Mr. 4 will trash himself and bring back a 5 cost, probably in the form of either Daz Bones or one of the blockers. Usually, you get Mr. 2 here turning himself into a Daz Bones, but if they are worried about the game state, they might bring back a blocker. Both of these cards are really annoying because we can't control the board because of them at the start. We just have to let them sit there, and Mr. 2 is on KO, so even if he's rested, no point attacking into him. It's just like attacking into one of our KO effects. Why attack Monet? Make them do the work there. So don't attack into Mr. 2 there. Let him KO himself, and Miss All Sunday, feel free to KO her when you want. But just be aware, she is bringing everything back, so don't KO anything before they drop her down. And we'll talk about curves in a second of when they're going to drop her down. But let's talk about the rest of the key cards here. So they do have 2 blockers here. One of these blockers on KO, he can bring himself back. So back to hand, that is, not back to board. He brings himself back to hand so he can be played again the next turn. Really, really disgusting. Why would they do that to us? This deck has so much going in it, and I guess it's got some pretty bad matchups up there because some really, really powerful effects here. Let's talk about the 1 costs here. The 1 cost, so the main one here is Miss Valentine. She is a searcher for them. The others are all 2k counters on top. They do have some effects, but they're mostly there as 2k counters. They will get played out quite often, most likely the Miss Wednesday, because Miss Wednesday can neg power and go back to the trash and then get brought back through other effects. So really, really strong card. You're most likely going to see Miss Valentine down and then the Miss Wednesday. All right, we need to talk about Mr. 1. Mr. 1 is a menace. He, on play, he doesn't have rush, but effectively has character rush. And what he does is he can rest down. I think they have to be on 0 there, but they can get that effect through the leader anyway. So what he does is he rests down a character, then he can swing into it. So a common play Mr. 2 is played. Mr. 2 is trashed through the Crocodile effect, which also reduces power from our characters. And then Mr. 1 comes back in and sees a character with no power, rests it down, then he can attack it. Then you're going 6 into whatever that is. And because they can do that from 4 Don, like if you think about curve, if you are going first, you play something worth 3 Don. Even if it's a vanilla character, 3 Don gets you a 5k power. Mr. 1 comes in and goes, ooh, I see you've only got 5,000 power there. I'm going to take you out. And does just that. So really annoying on curve effect there if they pull that off. And they usually do. So watch out for Mr. 1 there. He will be coming at you. And you play one of these low value cards, not resting it. Thinking it's safe, it's not safe. Mr. 1 will show you it's not safe. And I'm going to show you in one of my games. It's not safe. It's not safe. Crocodile, he is the crux of their deck. He is their win con. He is the most annoying card in the game. And he's not leader locked. He's not leader. Well, he's a little bit leader locked, but for the most part, he's not leader locked. This card, on play, he draws. On play, he draws. On KO, you trash a card from hand. You bring him back. That's absolutely busted. I can't believe they've actually printed something like this. I mean, I can because they did Emu. One day this card will be banned, I swear, because it's just so strong. He is the most difficult card for our deck because he... I mean, let's look at the Crocodile deck as a whole for a sec. The Crocodile deck as a whole, the reason why we hate this deck so much is it's doing what we're doing. It is the Doffy deck. And if you think about it like this, it is the Doffy deck. They have protection with their main attacker. Like us, we use Virgo for that protection. So we can't take out their main attacker. That is number one. Of why it's sort of similar. They're controlling the board in a very similar way. They're a control deck, just like us, except we can't deal with their cards. They can deal with our cards because what they've also got here is they've got Ground Death, and Ground Death can nullify. And this card you do need to be aware of because Ground Death, if they nullify a block of Vivi, for instance, now you can't do anything about that. You can't get your event back. If you were banking on that Noro from the block, well, now you've got neither. It's just been shut down. That card is gone. If you were banking on your baby 5 bringing back a life, well, they use Ground Death, nullify that. Now you don't have that effect and they can just wipe you out. So do be aware of Ground Death for a start. We don't have any such cards that can nullify. I think if you had Ground Death against Crocodile, you Ground Death their Crocodile, you take it out. We can control, if that was the case. We cannot do that. This deck is a menace because of this. Anyway, let's just jump ahead to the curve. All right, first let's talk about the going first curve for them. So if they're on 1 Don, here, their optimal play would be the Miss Valentine. They get some searching happening. Their number 2 turn, when they've only got 3 Don, they can't really do much with it. As I mentioned before, they've got a bunch of 1 costs. They might play out the 1 costs, the other alternative, and they don't get the value from the 1 cost because they're 2k counters. The most common thing you might likely to see is they attach 3 Don to the Miss Valentine and just swing at face. Then you've got a Croc at face, a Miss Valentine at face, and that's 2 attacks. Very similar to what we do. Turn 3, they've got 5 Don. They could just outright play a Daz Bones, but what they're going to do instead is they do it through the Mr. 2 here. Drop the Mr. 2, use his effect, KO it, then bring back a Daz Bones, swing in at a character because they would have been able to rest whatever character they want through this effect. If they just play the Daz Bones, it wouldn't have worked that way. So they use this effect here through their leader, rest a character, take it out with the Daz Bones, throw a extra Don onto their leader because they had that one free from the 5 Don, and attack at face. So 6 Don, a 6 swing at face on this turn. Really, really annoying with this curve so far. Next one, 4. They can drop the Miss All Sunday on curve. If they drop the Miss All Sunday on curve, just be aware the Miss All Sunday, we could potentially take this Miss All Sunday out on our turn 4. If they're going first, we could double ramp, drop the 10 cost, take this out. And what often you might see is they will, instead going for the Daz Bones, they might go for the double finger here instead. If they get the double finger out, this double finger offers protection, so you can't wipe out this one here. And it offers the protection in adding cost. So it adds 2 costs to all their characters. Double finger becomes a 7. This one becomes a 9. 6, Daz Bones is a 7. The annoying thing is then you can't take out Miss All Sunday on curve. The best thing you could do is, just hit the double finger. So this is a common play that you'll see them do against the Doffy is the double finger comes out, and why not? Such a strong character anyway. This comes out, then their next turn they start the Croc Mayhem. They've got 9 Don, Croc down, turn 6, turn 7. And they're just establishing a stronger and stronger board each turn. That is their general curve when going first. Let's have a look at what our curve looks like when they go first. All right, so our going second curve, which is when they go first, we drop the double finger. We drop the Dellinger, 1 Don. This is our optimal turn 1 play. Turn 2, we might be going for the sugar here. We might drop a 1 cost on top of that. Now, I'm not sure that I like this as a whole, because as I just mentioned, you do this and what's going to happen is they're going to rest it down. They're going to use the Mr. 2. If you drop, do something like this, they use the Mr. 2. Mr. 2 gets KO'd. They negged on off, this character here. And then the Mr. 1 comes out and just attacks into sugar. So if you drop, these two, this combination here, they're just going to attack into this. So if you do save the Dellinger though, if you save the Dellinger, you could redirect into Dellinger, and then on the leader swing, then they have to use that leader swing into sugar. So the only benefit to doing this play is if you save the Dellinger, you don't let it get hit. I mean, you can't let it get hit on their turn 2 anyway, on their turn 1 anyway. You save this Dellinger for this swing here. You're still going to lose the sugar, but at least you haven't taken a hit to face. So that would be the only reason why you want to play the extra character here. The other option on this turn is just play the sugar and then extra Don onto leader and attack at face. That's probably going to be your best bet on this going second curve. Turn 3, play Monet, where, with this going second curve, the ideal scenario is you're going into this option just to take out Miss All Sunday on curve. And if you're presenting a situation where you've just dropped these 2 here, when they drop the Miss All Sunday, they go, oh, okay, they're on 8 Don. They're going to just take out this double finger. I need to go into Zala instead, which reduces the pressure, because if they don't go Zala, they're going into the Mr. 1 and they're going to take out, something else on the board here. So you're better off presenting that situation where they have to play around it. Now, if they are playing Zala down, you're not going to get a really strong effect out of this. I think at this stage, then you're better off playing this card here on the 4 Don curve, going wider, and just saving this up your sleeve for a following turn. If they do play the Miss All Sunday, you drop this, then next turn you go into this card here. Or possibly you double up, but I think this is always going to be a stronger option rather than chaining a 10 cost. So let's just pause for a second here. Now, I want to talk about the Croc Win Con a little bit more here. So with the Croc Win Con, the Crocodile basically from that, turn 4, might be turn 5. Sorry, turn 5 if they're going first. They're just going to drop Crocodile after Crocodile from this point, locking down 2 of your characters. And I mentioned this before, you need at least 3 beaters to be able to get through. They're going to be dropping 2 characters. They're going to be freezing 2 of your characters for 4 turns here. You're going to become very ineffective. And our usual strategy for going second is we get the 10 cost down, we apply a lot of pressure, and then we can use a lot of defensive pressure. And I've talked about this particular combo in every single video, because what we can do is, if we got Baby 5, we got Viola, we got a Nora Beam, and some Donna, we have this one here as our attacker. So we got 2 on the board for defense, which can just defend the whole board. We've got our big Doffy, we might have a 8 Doffy and a Virgo. If this is our strategy, they're resting down this one here and the 9 cost. All we got left is a Virgo. Maybe they rest the Virgo instead of the other one. Whatever the case, they're going to be resting one down. Then they're going to be attacking into the other one, taking it out. And if they take that out, on your next turn, you establish it down and to a frozen. Means you're not attacking at all into them. You've got your defenders and that's it. So basically you've got 4 turns you need to defend before you can even start attacking. This our ultimate defense here does not win against this deck for that reason. We are not able to attack into them. The only attacker we have is our leader. Once per turn, they usually have enough cards in hand to defend that. We're not getting anywhere with this deck, with this strategy. So I want to make that very, very clear. Usually I go second. Usually we have a good game going second because we can establish this 10 cost early and put a lot of pressure on. Against Croc, that does not work. I don't think our going second curve works for this game. And I'm going to talk about that more in a future video. So if you haven't subbed, do sub, because I think that video is going to be really important. I just wanted to get this particular guide out first because everyone's been asking for this guide. So this doesn't work. I think in this particular matchup, we need to go first if we have a choice. So let's have a look at that curve. All right, so we'll look at Crocodile first. They're going second curve. Once again, they're playing down Miss Valentine first. This is a no-brain move for them. If they've got her, they'll play her. Going second, they now get Mr. 2 on curve. And Mr. 2 comes out. He might go into more likely the Daz Bones, but they may drop the blocker as well. So if they don't have the Daz Bones, they're going to drop a blocker. Turn 3, they can go straight into a Daz Bones, have an extra Don free to attack into us. That's that turn done. Turn 4, now they've got an option. They can go into the Crocodile or they can go into Miss All Sunday. We're getting to an interesting point here. So they're able to establish a little bit less here. If they drop the Miss All Sunday, they get a wider board. And this is going to be putting a lot of pressure on us. So if they do Miss All Sunday, is bad for us, but we could counter that with a 10 cost on curve. On our turn 5, if we've just ramped once, we'll be there. We'll be at the 10 Don and able to drop it on Miss All Sunday. And if we're presenting that situation, they might not drop Miss All Sunday, or if they've got a Zala in hand, they might still do it. If they drop that 8 cost Croc now, it's not the worst thing. And at this point here, we can attack in. We want to take out the Daz Bones first. Get rid of that thing. Get rid of the blocker if they've got a blocker. Attack the board at this stage. This is the only stage where you attack the board. They're going to rest 2 things down. So all you're able to attack with is probably the leader at this stage. But you want to attack the board here. From this point forward, they're just dropping Croc after Croc. They're going for that win con here. Their board's getting bigger while freezing you down. You're only able to attack once per turn, defending themselves from hand or using a blocker. So with our curve, we sort of know what our curve is going to be if we've played our deck a lot. Here, 1, we're Dallinger. Number 2, what we might do now, once again, I've put sugar on there, and I want to put sugar on there just as a reference to myself to remember to say don't play sugar down, because if you play sugar down, and I'm going to show it in a video very soon, you play sugar down, they use Mr. 2 on that curve, they use Mr. 2, take it out with the Daz Bones. It's no good. It's no good. What your best bet at this stage is throw Don onto Dellinger. So attack with leader, throw Don onto Dellinger, and attack face. That is the best thing we can do on this curve. If you don't get Dellinger down, it's a little bit more awkward because, you know, you can't swing that power if you're dropping a sugar on that turn 1. That's as simple as it. If you do have sugars, if you got 2 sugars, it's not too bad because you're able to play one on turn 1, turn 2, you use the effect, then you play the other one. You've got 2 down. You're going to lose them, but at least you got some effect out of them. Now turn 3. Now turn 3, the thing I like about the sugar here is if they do attack into the sugar, it just brings out another character. And not often will they do this because that's silly. In the game I'm going to show you in a sec, they do that. And it isn't a strong player, but I'm going to show you that game because there's a lot of learning in that. And in this particular game, we get to see the weaknesses of the deck through the way the player uses the deck. And I can't wait to show it to you, but we're going to finish talking about the curve. This one here, yeah, turn 3, we can use Sugar or Monet. We just need 1 ramp here, and that's fine. So either one is going to be fine in this particular scenario. It doesn't really matter if they do take him out. If they do take him out, that's okay. It's okay. We're going to get effect. Turn 4, we Doffy down. We bring out Virgo. Virgo is going to be our strongest character. The reason why we want Virgo is not protection. It's because he's 7,000 power. He's going to apply a lot more pressure to their hand with his attacks. Turn 5, most likely going to be the big guy here. If we do have another Doffy 8 cost in hand, we might be doing that instead. Because if we can go wide, if we can establish another one, if we've got basically at this point, we've lost these characters, we've got a Monet on board, we use a Doffy, go into Virgo. Turn 5, we use a Doffy, go into Virgo, or go into Rosie, or go into whatever else we got, another Monet. Doesn't matter. If we've then got 5 on board, they're resting 2 down. We've got a lot more attackers. This is where we're strong. This is the way we win the match, is we go wide. If we can double this down, very strong into the matchup. And I know a lot of you are running 4 of this Doffy and only 3 of this. This is the match where that's going to help you the most. So before we check out some videos, I want to talk about the points where the game can be won. Now, I did mention earlier our general strategy. This is the points where the game's won, and it's based off this sort of strategy. You can win the game if they miss chaining the Crocodile. And yeah, if they make a mistake, we can win. And that sounds really bleak, but as I said, 30% win rate. There's a reason for that. Because if they chain the Crocs, we just can't establish a wide enough board. You need to establish a wide board so you can do this, which I mentioned in the general strategy. Now, I put number 2, the point can be won from effective offense, and this is from that go wide strategy. It's not just that though. We can create a situation where they miss chaining the Crocodile. Because if we take down their blocker, as I mentioned, they can't establish a blocker and drop a Crocodile in the same turn. And if we are putting so much pressure on their face, they've got no life, we can now create a situation where they need to establish more defense. And if they're establishing defense, they're not establishing offense, which frees up our characters to attack more. This puts them on the back foot. This is the only way to put them on the back foot, is with that strong offense. So go wide with these 8 costs. Characters that can attack face without committing Don, and commit Don to them to put even more pressure on the Crocodile. This is the way to beat the Crocodile. So let's check out some games here. The first one I want to show you though, is how this sort of plays out when they do miss that Croc. Now, they don't necessarily miss the Croc in this game. This is through strong offense. Let's check it out. I'm going to show 3 games here. Each one is sort of offering a different element. The first 2 is using the deck list in the current video description. The other one is an older deck list that I've been using in the other guides. And, you know, you get to see sort of the comparison of whether you try and go for control in that game versus this more aggressive approach with, you know, with the hybrid list that I'm using in the current deck list. All right, so here we go. Doffy versus Crocodile. Mulligan that first hand. This second hand is absolute rubbish. Couldn't ask for a worse hand right now. We want to see the 8 cost. We want to see some searches. We do have at least a ramp, but everything else is not great here. And, you know, we went first. So first is good, but, you know, not having that searcher. We get to do the searcher now. We see a lot of 10 costs. Not a lot that's good here. Viola, okay later. We don't need another sugar 4 cost. We're just going to grab the 1 cost, play it down, see if we can grab another search off it later. And just use that last swing here, attack 5 at face. What we would have loved is for them to discard from hand instead, but they just take that first life. And, you know, this comes in, attacks, swings here. Not great. Not great losing that there, but at least we've still got the other 1 cost. And of course, the 4 cost comes down. It's going to drop it yet. Daz Bones, there it is. Swings at the sugar and losing this sugar here. Now, this one, just want you to know, this recording is after the game. Didn't have the visual audio for the game, so just sort of post-game comments here. And I feel like this is a little bit better for the guide. Anyway, we get a Rosie in this, the draw here. We drop down our ramp card, our ramp. We've done our ramp now. All we need is the 8 cost. And we've got nothing to play. I'm just going to throw it all at face. Sorry, I'm going to throw it all at a character because I'm either going to do 5 at face and they get rid of 1 card, or I throw it all at character. And in this instance, we got a lot of cards from hand. And getting the 3 cards from hand here is a lot more stronger than losing the character. Like, we did well from that. Sort of might be indicating they don't have a Miss All Sunday they want to play this game, or at least at this point. So they attack into the sugar, which was a big mistake. We get to convert that sugar straight into a Virgo. Now we've got some strength on the board. And 5 at face. We're just going to take this rather than use that 2k in hand. We want to reserve our counter for our characters later on. And really awkward situation here. Just going to have to take this one as well. We were really hunting at that point for the 8 cost, hoping we'd draw it out of life. We don't find the 8 cost, so going to have to do something else here. Let's get the baby 5 down. Can get us some life back later. We're at 10, so we can just redirect into it. And we want to take down one of these. The reason why we used the baby 5 first was so we got a Don that is rested that we can return and neg power. And I've opted to neg power off the other one, so that way I can apply pressure to both. I can use my leader, not commit any Don to it, drop a 5 cost here, and we did get that. It was 2 over, and we got it. They didn't want to discard 2 from hand, and this all comes back to them defending their board on that first state. Now we're just doing 1 over, and we get that as well. So that is really good here, and we're going for the Rosinante, getting value turn after turn. Because we've got the Noro there, figured that having the 2 extra so we can bust out that Noro whenever we need it. We might be dropping the 10 soon because we've got no 8 cost, so going for that. And I'm discarding the 2k here. Didn't want to go too low using the Noro when there's no target. Alright, and they double free, so 2 rested. Only our leader that we can attack with We could attack with baby 5 if we want to get that serious. So we could drop the 10, but we're not really getting effect from it. Virgo, and it's sort of annoying. We can see the Law Rosinante here. The Law Rosinante is 6 cost. If it was a 5 cost, we could drop the 5 cost, whatever it was, plus the Virgo. I think would have been the best scenario. I'm just chipping away, and they did take the life. I was hoping they'd lose another card from hand, but even getting that life for so cheap does feel good. And we're going to go for this here just because it's an 8,000 power. A little bit stronger than the Virgo. And I don't know. I probably, in hindsight, I think I should have attached 4 Don to the baby 5 and swung in just to try and get another card from hand. So it was a bit of a misplay there. Had enough Don left over, and refreshing 2 for the Rosinante, I still would have been fine. So redirecting into the baby 5 because we had full Don. Getting that life, just re-establishing a little bit. And I want you to note here, they played Croc, not Miss All Sunday. And because we managed to clear the board, right now all they have is the Crocs. This is a very important point here. The only things attacking us is the Crocs, and we're able to manage this a lot better. So if you can minimize the rest of their board, you're going to have a much, much better game. And this is, I think, the reason why we can win this game is because of this, them not having an established board. So I think they should have done a Miss All Sunday, and we saw them discard a Miss All Sunday. Don't know if they had it in the previous turn, but I definitely feel they should have done it. Now we do 7 at face, and we have that blocker there. We do want to attack with the blocker. I think we do want to attack with the blocker. We might drop the Viola and Virgo here, and that's why I sort of did the count before. We throw 2 Don onto our leader because we know we can Virgo. Viola is 8, 2 free for our leader, and we're going to restand 2 with our Rosie anyway. So yeah, getting more cards from hand here. That was a ground death, so good one to see leave. 2 back. We can rest one of these Crocs with an Oro, so we're only taking 1 hit, and we could redirect that into Viola. Now this is awkward because we don't, like, I'm happy to use this card here, the Divine Departure, but we don't have any other big body, and I do want to establish a big body, so don't want to get rid of that. Noro is only 2,000, so not the best. We're going to go for a bit of a crazy play here. I'm going to use the Noro beam to rest this other Croc. I do want to do this. Definitely want to do this. What we're going to do is we've got a Noro in our trash already. Let's redirect into our Viola here. Still saving our leader redirect. So if they do attack into our character here, we might even just send it at face. We'll see what they do. All right, so Crocs are taken care of. They're bound to drop another Croc here if they've got one. Okay, freezing one down. Using the event to freeze another card. So that is a very strong play that they do. Perhaps I should have put that in our cards to talk about their key cards, because that is a key one. 1 cost, resting that down is punishing. And they get the Zala down. So Zala's more offensive pressure, not defensive pressure. So if we can clear board here, if we can clear that Zala off, they still have a low hand. We have 2 life up and a redirect. So if we can clear the Zala, we're going to be safe here. So just trying to attack low here. I mean, if they get rid of this last card in hand, that's fine. Virgo here requires them to get rid of both cards in hand, so we might get another card from life. Yep. Drop the Doffy down. We want to clear the Zala. With Zala out of the way, the best thing they can do is attack into board. We have the Noro as well, so we can rest one of these Crocs. They're going to, they're probably going to drop Crocs and rest us down. Let's just get out of this here. We can redirect into our leader. Sorry, we can redirect into the 10 cost and not take any effect here. But what we're going to do, we're going to save that redirect because we don't want to lose characters. We've got enough in hand to get out of this, and it's okay to use our whole hand here. We show the Noro and they're not having a bar of it. They concede on the spot there. So I want to talk a little bit before we look at the next game, just about why this game actually went the way it did. And I mentioned it before, they didn't establish anything else on the board when they had the Crocs on. Because of that, they weren't able to put enough pressure onto us and we could go wide enough. If they had another character on board, they'd be able to attack into our board a lot stronger, minimize that, and then we can't attack into their face as much. So this is where the game is won. The game is won on board. Being able to use the board is the hard part. So hope you could sort of seeing it. Them losing that the two Daz Bones, that was the end of them. I was happy we got rid of one. I think even if we just got rid of one, still could have won this. Would have been a lot harder. And we were able to do this without the 8 cost. However, it would have been so much easier with the 8 cost. Do remember, we had the worst hand starting this game. The worst hand. We weren't able to get a Dellinger out to apply extra pressure. If you can get the Dellinger out, apply extra pressure. If you can get your 8 cost down and apply extra pressure, this game is very winnable. Even if they don't make mistakes, you can still win this if you get a God Curve, right? If they make mistakes, take advantage of those mistakes when they're made. Let's check out the next video. All right, guys, this next game I want to show you here. This next game, it's a really strong one. I didn't hit record straight away when filming this one, which is a shame because it was a very, very strong start to the game. So I'm going to fill you in with what's happened with the game so far. Turn 1, we were able to establish a sugar. Turn 2, we used the sugar effect to search the top of our deck. We then were able to find a Dellinger. I dropped the Dellinger. Dellinger then was able to protect the sugar from the opponent because they weren't able to find a card on their first turn. So they only had the one attacker from their leader, redirected into Dellinger, got to keep the sugar, and then the following turn we drop our 4 cost sugar, ramping it on, using our 1 cost sugar effect again, getting an extra card in hand, and then just swinging 5 at face. That 5 at face did take 1 from their life. They just took that, which is quite a good strategy in general with the Crocodile. Get that bigger hand size early, like what we want to do, get the bigger hand size early. So my next turn here, we got the ramp from the sugar. Next turn here, we go 8 cost. We get 8 cost into Virgo. This is where we're at the moment. They don't have a board. We have a board. Very, very strong here. Let's check out the rest of the game. And the reason I've included this is because we can see how this go wide strategy goes when you're up against a strong opponent. All right, so onto their turn 4 here. They come down with the Missile Sunday. They had no board, so Missile Sunday, very wise choice here. And we are forced. forced to defend that one. We just take the attack there. They've gone wide on the board. They haven't used the Bond Clay in that instance. And I think the reason is they want to attack with the Bond Clay first. All right, just trying to attack at face as much as possible here. Trying to apply pressure with the board we've got while the Croc isn't down. Ground Death defends that. They're going low in hand. This isn't bad. We should take a card here. And we can establish this on in retaliation. Just get rid of that Missile Sunday here. Limit the board down a bit. And from this point, as I said, they're just going to drop Croc after Croc. So if we can take out the rest of the board, we're going to be okay. The only thing we're worried about here is that Mr. 4 will become most likely a Mr. 1 and then attack into our board. They don't really have the targets though, so that is working in our favor. Okay, going low here. I think we probably want to defend this one. Don't want to redirect. We'll take this one here. Using effect, what's coming down? And they're going into blocker. They're feeling the pressure, so they're establishing a blocker now. And they're going for a Missile Sunday. They want to go wider again. And another blocker. So establishing a lot of defense, setting up. Now for the following turn, will just be Croc after Croc. And yeah, this is feeling a little bit high for us. If we go low now, we've got no Baby 5 in hand. So it's not going to feel great. But remember, they didn't establish a Croc. So we could have gone into the 4 there, the 4 cost sugar, but let's just get our Don back. And if we can get rid of some blockers here, we just go for face because that's going to, well, we can't go for board. But if we just go for face here, we can get the most out of them. They've got 1 Don up, might be Ground Death, that's plus 3,000 from memory. They might have the other one, which can get them 4,000, but hitting for that lower number, the 7, so it's 2 cards from hand, I think is the ideal number when they've got 1 Don up. And they did lose the blocker, so that is good. Good for us. Let's go 7 again while the Donna is up. 2 from hand. Love that. This should be higher than that defensive event if they've got it. So might get their blocker here. And this is what we want to do over anything else, is get that blocker up. They might just take the life. If I was them, I'd probably just take the life on this one. But we still have the 10 cost to follow. So I'm hoping we take the blocker here. And then establish something else on the board. Okay, they take the life. The 10 cost should get this through. Yeah, there's the blocker. So we've eliminated their blockers again. They've got no blockers on the field. We're fairly wide here as well. And now, yeah, there's no effect really from Missile. The Missile Sunday didn't really help them that turn because they weren't able to establish enough that turn to give the threat to us. And now we've gone wide enough that if they drop the Croc next turn, they're resting 2 things down. We've still got an attacker plus our leader. And if we establish something now, which we will, yeah, they've got nothing. So we've gone for the defensive Viola option, and I don't know if I think that was the best. I think a better move would have been to place down the Baby 5 at this stage, because Baby 5 would have ramped. It would then allow us to redirect into it. The only reason we've done the Viola is we want to maintain our attackers, and because they've got the Missile Sunday on field, they can attack high with that into, you know, one of them, and they could have just loaded Don onto something else. We didn't want to take that risk, and I don't want to lose any curve here. So just attacking low, ramp back up here. And as I said, if we did baby 5, it would have been much, much stronger. We can just, use Monet from hand here. But yeah, I guess that was the consideration making here. We didn't place the baby 5 because I wanted to redirect into sugar. And the reason I wanted to redirect into sugar was so I can play down a Monet. So there we've able to maintain our defense and establish extra attacker here. So right now we can't really play anything down. We don't want to play anything down. What we want to do is use our Don very effectively here. Leave 2 up for the Noro. And just hit big numbers here. Hit 9s and we'll be fine. So there's our Ground Death. And another card. That's 2 cards from hand here. Let's do 7 now that they don't have that event up. It's another 2 cards here. And I guess the question is, what do we want to do here? Do we want to take? How much pressure do we want to apply? We've got enough to defend our... they're not going to lethal us next turn. So little attack in takes a life. And looking at the weakness there, I just go in for the extra attack with our blocker. Knowing that they can't really take us out, we've got the Noro Beam. He's able to rest 1. And 2 life left. We've got to redirect. We're fine here. Get out of this one. 8 at face. Just take that one. There's probably should have done a Noro Beam and just rested down this Croc, but didn't really matter. Didn't really matter at that point. So you can see the important part of this is that extra pressure we applied meant that they couldn't chain the crocodiles as early as they wanted to. That extra pressure was necessary for this one to go the way it did. And yeah, they're able to rest 2 things down here. They've established no defense. All it takes is yeah, they've got no blocker. All it takes is all of our Don onto one of our characters here, which is what we go for. 17 at face. How do you defend that with 6 cards in hand? Particularly when you've still got the leader and the Monet to follow. So we take the win there. That is how it's done. This is the best example of how it can be done. Yeah, they only had 2 Crocs, which maybe that was part of the reason of why they chose the Miss All Sunday play. But as a whole, this is the approach. Go wide, get that 8 cost Doffy down, take out their board at that point. That Miss All Sunday taking the first one down was really powerful for us, being able to establish that offensive pressure. All right, let's check out the next game. Now the next game was recorded live, so I guess you get to see my approach to the game. This game is one of the longest games. Now, do recall the list we're using for the next one is not the deck list in the description. It's the deck list in the description of all the previous guides that I've done. I do suggest using the current deck list in this description because that one is more geared towards this offensive strategy. What we're going to see in the next video is how the control might look and how difficult it is. The control, using control against Crocodile, everything has to go in your favor. I want to show it because it shows you how hard you have to work to get the win. And this was probably the only win I've had taking this control, approach to the matchup. So want you to see why we don't do this through a winning game, which is insane to say, but let's have a look at it. All right, guys, I couldn't find the exact game we wanted, but this one's pretty good. I want to show you this because we're trying to control this game. So we got the choice. We chose second. We're going for a control style game here. The deck list that I'm using is from my 10 cost line build. You would have seen that in, I'm just going to put the thing up there if you want to check out that deck list. All right, so their turn one, they established the Miss Valentine as they want to do. Our hand, we do have 2 Dellingers in hand, so that looks pretty concluded. We're doing that, aren't we? Establishing 1 for now, 1 for later, and even if they use a Daz Bones into Dellinger, it's all good. It's all good. So their turn 2 here is always a bit of a dud turn. The best thing they could do is attack with Crocodile. They go straight for a KO of Miss Valentine here. Interesting play. And all onto their Crocodile, swinging, making sure they're trying to take, but well, that's just an easy redirect for us. So that was a bit of a mistake by them. And what do we want here? We're going to take the Monet for that ramp because in this line, we need to double ramp. We have a baby 5, we can ramp 1. We have the Monet now, we can ramp 2. We do have an 8 cost and Virgo in our hand. So worst case, we can do that if they don't present that situation of dropping the Miss All Sunday. All right, 1 above, getting rid of a 2k here, not bad. And, passing turn to them. They don't have anything on board at the moment, which is nice for us. They're going into 5, so this could be a straight out 5 cost like a Daz, or it might be into the Mr. 2. Having a think on their approach here. They might even do a scenario where they bring back Miss Valentine. Perhaps that's why they did the KO of the Miss Valentine, was to bring her back from trash with a Mr. 4. They're not, Mr. 2. They're not doing that. They're going straight with Daz Bones here. Because they couldn't KO, this is where they need to keep the Miss Valentine because they could have used the KO effect. I mean, as I said, Daz is not getting any effect by taking out what's on our board right now. So that was handy. We want to draw a card. We know what we want to do this turn. We want to play the Monet. We are still searching though. We are still searching. And I think they did attack. Yeah, I think this is all looking pretty good, except we don't have the 10 cost. So drop that down. We've got 3 extra. We could drop Viola. But what we want to do is apply pressure, remember. We want to apply pressure. And 4 cards in hand, that is worth a swing with Dellinger. They should have taken that 5th life a lot earlier, and they continue. They double down. This is a mistake. This is a mistake. In decks like ours, in Crocodiles, we want to take that life to defend our board. Going lower in life isn't as important. I think it's not as important in our deck as it is in Crocodile's deck. Crocodile don't have the way to get life back, so they want to defend it a little bit more strongly than we do. And going down for the double here, we've seen this before. If we can take both of these down, we're in for a good game. And one card from hand here. The thing is, I want to keep the Viola for our control game. The only other counter we have here is a 2k counter. Do I want to show them that? This is the dilemma I'm going through in my mind. The other thing, we could just redirect straight into Dallinger here. Then we don't need to show them any weakness. But we still have the other attacks to defend. We're just going to do the 2k here. No block. 2k. Alright, they have seen some weakness from us. If we lose Monet, it's not the worst thing either, so not too worried here. Interface. Now we're on 4, so taking this isn't too bad. We might find an 8 cost if we take it. And they should still have the Crocodile. We redirect this one instead. And we go for the 10. We find the 10. We are all set now, guys. We are all set. And they double interface again. Maybe thinking that we have a 2k in hand and we're just going to get out of a Monet attack. Trying to get more from hand by, like, that weakness that we showed, I guess, is why they're going in for our face. But, you know, this is I mean, I think this is an easy take, but we could use the 3 cost, the event here, with a Virgo, and we're just going to take, and we get another 10, so we can back to back. We have Monet on field, so we can back to back this. So first, let's see if we can just take one of these down outright. They've got no hand, so we might take it. If they let this go, we are super strong. If they defend it, we can still be pretty strong. Okay, they do defend it. We gotta go for a 10 cost here. The other thing is, we could actually, they've only got 2 in hand. We could just attack in, and we try and do it this way instead. We attack in here with the plan, and they defend this as well. So let's just go wide here. We're fine to go wide. They've got no hand. Like, they might have a Crocodile in hand. We're really trying to starve them out here. Going full control here. They were defending with hand. We double down on this. And like I always say, I don't know if I've said this out loud actually, if they show that they're trying to defend their life, you need to attack their hand by attacking board. So that's why we started attacking board there. And attacking low numbers, sort of more guaranteed cards from hand rather than losing the things on board. But now they're set up to lose hard. They got a Croc down, so they did rest 2 of our characters. But we can just go pretty hard in here. We've got enough life that we can sustain this. Okay, we don't want to lose Monet though, because we do want to keep this redirect in here, because we've got the double. We get some life back. We've got one more attack coming in. We do want to defend Monet, and we will defend it with this event if we have to. Okay, and it's just a face. We can take this. But we use event because we've already got the Virgo down, and we're planning just to double down with these Doffys anyway. And you can see the our own Bond Clay here. This is that 10 cost line deck that we were using. So we can happy just to attack low numbers again. Get rid of these cards from hand. If they don't have a Croc in hand, I'm okay with that. We should be able to take something here. Okay, they do defend it. And doesn't really leave us with much, but what we can do is establish another baby 5 and keep that defense coming. And we're going to grab this one here because if they're going to keep crocodiles on the field, we're going to have a 10,000 power character, and they don't have the KO in their deck to really hurt us here. So that established a really strong hitter, and continue to deplete their hand. So we're going for full control here. Just want you to see how full control, starving them out, like we're doing a great job starving them out here. I want you to see how this plays out. And I think if we had been able to take the both Daz Bones down that turn, it would have been a very different game. They establish a blocker, so trying to keep the defense now. So I think we want to go into baby 5. Whether we do that now or later doesn't really matter. Because they're just going at face, we may as well take that because we still want to keep Monet around. But we definitely want to lose a character now so we can play a 10 cost. And let's just do it now. Gain that life back. See if they attack into Monet or not. They need to use their effect as well. So they're only going to, because they committed all that Don, they can only rest or freeze one of our characters down. That's going to be a big retaliation turn for us. And they're going in for board, as they should. We did our redirect already, so we're going to lose Monet. Which means now we can't double into our our 10 costs. Okay, not bad. Need to trash a character here. Do we need the 2 10s? Going to try and keep the 2 10s. Once again, we need to clear the board again. We need to go back into clearing board. They've got the blocker and the bones. So let's attack big into bones here. It's good now we've got 2 attackers that are above bones that we can still play the 10 cost and KO. Alright, nice. They did that block. That's pretty good. See, hopefully they protect it and then we can wipe it out with our 10 cost. Alright, perfect. That was more than we could ask for. As far as control goes, this is going pretty good. You know, 3 life, fairly healthy, wide-ish board. Like everything on the board's really strong. They're going to have to deal with that bone clay this turn. We can redirect away from the bone clay as well. But we are low. We went low from the last one. We'll redirect, send it into the 7. Now they're going to have to use the 10 cost into there. We are going to lose it, but we do maintain life. They'll freeze down 2, but we'll still have 1 on board that can attack and our leader that can attack. So they sequence that right. Freeze this. Other one can't attack either. $16 cards left in their deck. Could we mill them? Could we mill them down? They've still got their 5 life. So this is, I mean, if you're going for a mill, I don't think it's worth it. I think we're going to need a few more baby 5s in deck for that to work. So yeah, now the 10 into 1. As I said, we were always going to lose that, but it protected our life and it took down a character, so it paid for itself. I'm a bit of a fan of that Bond Clay as a whole. He such a good card. All right, so we're on 9, so we can't drop a 10. We do have another Bond Clay. We could go for that again. There's a Viola there as well, which a bit of defense might be good if we're trying to control this. We're going to go for this as a turn generator. Just generates nice strong effects turn after turn, and just hoping for something good off that trash, but just some 2Ks. And deciding not to attack face because let's just try and mill them out. You know, if they're starved, what's the chance they've got a Crocodile here? They've got 15 left in deck. Okay, they've got another Crocodile. That's 2 rested. If we can get their hand down to 0 though, if we can get their hand down to 0, we can actually take out a Crocodile. So there's a second one, frozen down for the turn. We could push for 2 strong turns. If we go for life now, we could push for 2 strong turns. We've got 4 attackers this current turn. So two rounds of 4 attacks, I think should be able to take it. It's just whether we can survive that at the same time. And we just picked up some 2K, so we're getting out of this easily. I think we'll get rid of the treble here first. And we've got all our done back now. So cancel this one. No, with no block first. Treble and 2 more attacks to defend. 1 more we could divert into our 10,000 power Doffy and just add some more counter. And they're likely to leave that 1 Don for an event. So 2 attacks at face, I'm guessing. Well, there's nothing on board they can attack, but I'm guessing they're going to do 2 swings here. Really mulling this over, they are. Just got to take it. Not bad. That can delay us another turn. This is good. This is really good. Okay. 2. We can fully rest there. Like, we can rest 2 characters. We should be able to survive this if we can establish a Viola here. If we can establish a Viola here, this is looking pretty good. Our hand is healthy. 2 strong rounds of attacks should be able to take this down. We could also drop a 10. The hand is super weak. Let's see if we can take stuff from hand first. Yeah, okay, this is good. 6. Probably should have added some Don here, but they take anyway. They take anyway. All right, let's add a little bit more now. Now that they're pressured on life, we can add more to the attack and hopefully take some from hand. And that 1 Don up, as I said, we need to get a little bit more out of them here. And we just want to leave at least 4 Don here for the Noronoros. And let's just try and get that last life here. All right, so they're down to 1 life. That was a massive, massive swing here. All right. Got to defend 4 attacks. We know we can take down 2 right now. And look at this, they swing 10. So we don't want to touch this card right now because that would rest a Don. We do not want to rest a Don right now. All right. First one. Add 2. Rest. Second one. Add 2. Rest. Perfect. 2K. Done. We are done. This is what we want here. They got 10 Dons still. I don't know what they do here. Do they they're just going 5 into the Bond here. We want to keep it. We want the power. So let's redirect this attack. And the 4th Croc comes down. The 4th Croc comes down. I mean, they've gone through most of their deck, so this is not surprising. I think they got 13 cards left. And they do the effect here, resting down our two big guys. But actually, they probably would have done better to rest the Bond Clay, because the Bond Clay is actually a 10,000 power as opposed to the 9,000. So I think, you know, small error on their part, only 1,000, but always going for the biggest body isn't necessarily the wisest choice. Right, 9 Don. They got 2, 4, 6, 8 cards in hand. 1 life. So we need to hit them twice. They got 2 Don up. This could be 2 4s. So let's see what a 10 can get out of their hand. Okay. 1 ground death and a 2K. That's all they needed to get out of that. Okay, we got rid of 1. We need the next 2 to land, and we only got 2 shots at this. Sorry, we got 3 shots at this. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. We don't want to overcommit to this one and they just take the life. But we also need to put enough pressure on. And let's say we do a 9 and they take here. I mean, really what we should be calculating is the Sakura swing. If you haven't checked out that video on what to do when they've got 1 life left and you've got 3 attackers, this is the scenario. We should be able to calculate it here. Our largest body is a 7, second is a 6, 6 and 7, 13, plus a 9. That's an even number. We want to go for odd, which is actually 1 less. So we do 8. 8 to our lowest is 5. 13 is our biggest swing. 13, what's that? 6 would be left with 3 is a 9. 9 is the ideal number, which is what we swing with here. So this is going to extract the most amount of Don as possible in this scenario. And they give us a bunch of counter here, indicating they might not have an event here. Okay, well, they've got 1 Don up. We still need to make sure this hits. So I guess we split here. We go 9-9. It's the best case scenario. If they've got the event, they've got the event. If they don't, you know, we've still got a chance we could throw a Viola down, but we can't survive 4 Croc attacks. That's insanity here. Okay, they take it. It's a trigger. Draw 2 cards. Trash 2 cards. They've optimized their hand here. Hopefully they didn't find an event from that. Hopefully they don't have a bunch of 2Ks. All 1Ks and we survive. It's a ground death. Yeah, and they got out of it. Got nothing to restand here. We are a duck in the line of sight of this of the crosshairs, and they are ready to fire. So the Croc will eat. The Croc will eat. This is This is how trying to control the game works in this matchup. This is why we need to go for a more aggressive plan. As a whole, I think I did a pretty good job in this game. If you can see any mistakes I made in this game, point them out. I don't think control is going to win this matchup. I think our only way of winning this matchup is if we do take the more aggressive line. We put a lot of pressure on, and I did that in this game. I put the pressure on. I just starved them out first, and it just wasn't enough. Those crocs, one after another, absolutely devastating. And perhaps the only thing I could have done slightly better was attack a little bit sooner, a little bit, not take all of their life in that one turn. Anyway, we do lose the game. They had just too much there. All right, let's jump back into the video, the guide. All right, so disappointing end there, but that's how it is if you do take this approach. We need to go wide and we need to stay strong early, pressure on early. All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope that one was helpful. There's a couple of tips in there. I'm really hoping this video can bump up that Crocodile win rate. I'll be keeping a close eye on that, and I hope to see it go above 30% in the next week or so. If you have any questions about this matchup, drop a comment below. I'm always scanning the comments and trying to answer every single one I see. So if I haven't seen it, it's usually because it's a response to an older comment, and for some reason it doesn't default show me new responses. So I have to click on the video and find it specifically. Anyway, that aside, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for getting me to 500 subs as well. Really happy with that milestone achievement. And, you know, if you want to get me to 1,000 and you haven't subbed already, drop a sub. We'll get ready for the next guide and get you prepared for your next major matchup. Until next time, look after yourselves and look after your decks.